an easy setup. All right, so this is a Cheat Notes podcast with your host, Mike the Motivator, Michael Todd Thomas Jr., Mike Todd, whatever you want to call me, doesn't matter. Just don't call me stupid. You know what I'm saying? So I have a special guest here today. Just to give you a backstory how we met, which is
crazy in itself.
It's really crazy. It really is. So I was filming a wedding in South Padre Island. And I had gone on a run. I was just filming everywhere besides Texas, besides Houston. I was filming in Louisiana, New Orleans, just everywhere pretty much. And so we out here in South Padre Island. Mind you, this is not during spring break, so it's not popping. People have to understand, South Padre Island without spring break.
Not the spot.
It's not the spot. It's a bunch of old people. It's a bunch of old people and a bunch of... It's just not what it is. You know, it's straight, but it's like not South Padre Island.
It's a nice beach.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it is. So pretty much after that, so after the wedding, not even after the wedding, but the day before the wedding, this is when I met him. We were just driving. We was like, man, we ain't got nothing else to do right now. You know, we filmed, we made sure everything is good. So let's just find something to get into. And that was very hard. So we just went down this road, the main road, and we just kept driving, thinking we was gonna run into something. And then I looked to my left, and there's this farmer's market, and I was like, okay, so this might be something to do.
Wow.
I know, right? No, for real. I mean, growing up, I always went to farmer's market and like flea markets and stuff.
A flea market,
definitely. You know what I'm saying? So, because you never know what you will find there, and you might get a steal, and you just never know. And I'm a creative person, so you never know what you might find there. So I was like, you know what? Worst case scenario, we can get something to eat there, because I know it's gonna be something to eat there. So I get there, we walk in, I see the only black dude there.
Yeah,
and you see the only black person there, and you like,
you gotta at least say what's happening.
You got to. That's just standard. That just how it goes. So
etiquette.
Yeah, exactly. So I go up there and I see him, and I see he had barbecue sauce, and I'm a designer at heart, so I look at the packaging.
Word.
I always look at the packaging when I see people that are trying to sell products all the time, and I was like, man, this stuff look good. Word. But still, you like out there hustling it. So I'm like, I'm not thinking as big as it really was. I'm thinking like, this dude got a dope product. He probably selling it outside of his trunk, which ain't nothing wrong with that, because that's that hustle in you. You know what I'm saying? I did it. We all do it. Yeah. But lo and behold, this dude was in all these damn HEBs. And he just kept grinding. Like he kept grinding like, what's the saying? You keep grinding like you broke, right?
Pretty much, man. I try to treat that thing like don't nobody know about it, man.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Keep it that way.
So with pretty much after that, I end up going to I was like, man, I'm so fascinated with just the product and what he had told me at the time. I was like, man, let me just interview you, because at the time it's like I had never seen nobody in HEB.
Word.
I had never seen somebody so young doing what he was doing.
Okay.
And I was like, I always wanted to like, just I love history, so I'm always documenting things. Like I'm always documenting things. So I told him to come by my hotel and let me interview you, and he did that. He trusted me and my mentee, and he came by the hotel and we did it. But it's Lamar Jones, everybody, pretty much.
What's happening? Yeah, that's what he was trying to get to.
Just long story short,
what it is.
It's Lamar Jones, man. Man, bro, appreciate you for doing my podcast.
Man, no doubt. Always a pleasure, man.
I like to give people flowers while they're here.
Word.
I want, like, you're super inspiring, because, bro, like, to do what you're doing in a space where there are not many people like you doing it.
Gotcha.
In Texas, period, is a big deal to me.
Cool, man. Well, that's, humbled and appreciative, man. Just trying to be out here and do what we do, man, to the best of my ability, man. And, it just happens to have a great response, man. Some great feedback, man. I can't do any of this without, the support of my folks down here, man.
For sure. So I mean, we've been together all day because we were filming. You were talking to some kids at Yellowstone Academy.
Shout out to Yellowstone Academy, man.
Yeah,
we had a great time.
That was dope. That
man.
was dope. Them kids were just reciting your stuff verbatim.
Word.
Fast, quickly, and those teachers was just astounded by it. So I pretty much have learned your story because we've talked. Like even when we were we accidentally ran into each other in Philly, and we spent that 2 hours together just chopping it up. You know what I'm saying? That was crazy. That's when we realized we had to work together.
Got to, man.
Because it's like
stuff like that don't just happen.
That just don't happen. You don't just get on a flight and you met him once and you see him again in Philly.
Philly of all places.
Of all places.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Of all places. And we was like, we got time now, so let's just chop it up. And we was like, bro, we got to work. Yeah. We got to work together because it's just fate by now. Yeah. So please, I want to know. I mean, I guess my audience definitely want to know a little bit of background on you because I know you told the students that, but I know it's in a book that you got a children's book out about it as well. But just give us I guess a synopsis of who you are and where you come from.
Tell you what, man, I'll give you the short version, and you then definitely chime in with any, questions, man, that you think they might want to know. Originally from Camden, New Jersey. Grew up down in South Florida, Hollywood and Miami. Little Haiti, Miami to be exact. I grew up around a lot of good food. I grew up around a lot of great cooking, a lot of women that can cook. And actually, man, I want to shout out my God. I didn't let you know this, but my godmother passed away this week.
Oh,
right?
Man, for real?
So they had the funeral today. I couldn't be at the funeral. I couldn't get a flight to go in on Friday. But, with all that being said, she's one of the people that influenced my palate and understanding what great food was early age. Never went to her house once where it wasn't food. Mm-hmm. And then, you know what I mean? So I grew up around it. I know she would be happy with everything that's going on because she always encouraged me to, kind of do my best and reach out there and just do that, do whatever that is. But so growing up around that, and her name is Sharon Whites, by the way. Growing up around that let me know at an early age, dude, like what I like to eat, what tastes good, what wasn't good. So when I get to South Texas, great Mexican restaurants and Whataburger. You know what I'm saying? Those are your options. Now, don't get me wrong, dude. I love a good Mexican restaurant. And I put on, I want to say, man, when I got here, that first year and a half, 2 years, I probably put on 50 pounds, dude.
Boy, you was eating.
I'm telling you, me and Whataburger, we was like buddies, dude. Like I was there at least two, 3 times a week, dude, a day sometimes, man. For about a couple weeks, 2 or 3 weeks straight, I'm eating straight Whataburger in Mexican restaurants.
Yeah, that's a bad combination.
It's a horrible combination. It's good though.
I'm pretty sure it is, but that's bad.
Yeah. So doing that, man, and then I would buy barbecue sauce, and I always had to put something in it. I don't care what it was. Whatever I bought off the shelf, I had to put something in it. And then if you like me, you get a barbecue sauce and you take it home, and you try it for the first time. Once you get it home. And you don't know what you're going to get in the bottle. So enough of those experiences, I was like, okay, well, I got to put something in it. I wasn't even thinking about a barbecue sauce business when I started this thing. It was, I'm doing it for me. I don't care if anybody like it. I love it. If you like it, that's great. If not, more for me. But you get enough feedback from people saying, hey, man, this is pretty good. What you doing with it? So that made me start at least thinking about it.
Yeah.
Never even thought about, really running a business aside from being like an independent musician, selling CDs out the trunk. So barbecue sauce business was so beyond anything I had ever, thought about running your own business. You talk yourself out of, man, how am I going to compete with these big barbecue sauce businesses? Like, how am I going to do that? I have nothing. I'm cooking in my kitchen on the stove, dude, 24 bottles at a time. So I really didn't know how I was going to get that done. I didn't know how I was going to accomplish that. HEB comes around, shout out to HEB, definitely, man. They do that contest every year, Primo Pick contest. Top 25 products in the state. I don't make it into the first contest. it wasn't until the next year that I actually made into the contest. But even when I got into the contest, I didn't win anything. They had grand prize first, second, and third. Didn't win anything, but not even a week later, I get the phone call, hey, we definitely want to put you in the stores. We want to do business. They started me out of like 169 stores out the gate, dude. So big deal for me. I think, going back before HEB, there was a situation where I ended up winning a grant, with one of the cities down there, the city of McAllen, the chamber.
They did redo your branding, correct?
Well, they didn't redo the branding, but that $10,000 allowed me to, I had the money to do it.
To do it, yeah, that's what I'm saying. That money allowed you to redo the branding, correct?
Definitely,
and
man.
Can you see? This is where I want people to understand, because I've dealt with a lot of people. I've dealt with a lot of companies. Like my first restaurant that I had when I first started my agency. we was trying to rebrand it.
Okay.
And the name, I'm not even gonna say the name because it no longer exists because he didn't want to listen to me.
Okay.
But I had 2 restaurants at the time. They were like a part of my first roster.
Okay.
And I kept on telling him the importance of branding.
Yeah.
And brand identity. Because that's what brand identity, which is, the colors, the logo, the marks, the fonts you use, the labels, all of that. And, I saw the picture beforehand of your brand.
Hey, bro, don't be laughing at that, bro.
I'm saying,
that's what I could do at the time, bro.
I get it. But that really, that I can't help but to think that has something to do with them not accepting.
Well, it's a good possibility. You know what I'm saying?
But it takes somebody that it takes a smart person to understand that, man, that might be something that I need to improve. There are so many mom and pop stores, so many mom and pop brands that don't want to take that time or invest in great brand identity.
Yeah.
And you did that, and that's extremely important. Just based off your circumstances and your experience, how important do you think that was, that impact that it made on the success of your brand?
So I'm gonna say I have a little background in branding only because of my music background. So as an independent artist, my thing was like my music was all not what everybody else was doing. That was my brand. So my other thing was, at the time I started doing music, I had like cornrows and gold teeth, but I would get on the stage and I would sing. You know what I'm saying? So that was my brand. And I know that was a big part of the shock factor, and people saying, oh, okay, he got something.
We're about to get Trick Daddy.
Let's see what
they think they're going to get Trick Daddy. You come out, Gerald Levert.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man. So that worked to my advantage. So when I thought about the barbecue sauce thing, in order for me to even think about taking it seriously, I had to understand that, okay, for one, you only get one shot at a first impression.
Yeah.
We're talking now. I'm not selling it to my friends now. Now we're talking about trying to deal with a giant like HEB and the masses. So when you only have that one shot, okay, I need to look like something. Even if it don't taste great, it needs to look like something for people to even look at it and say, okay, well, let me try it out at least.
No, facts. Because people have to understand, when you go to that, when you shopping and you go to those aisles, there's a bunch of sauces. There's a bunch of stuff on there.
A bunch of labels looking at you.
I mean, you got to be appealing. That's the reason why I even designed my book cover in yellow and red.
Yeah.
And I put the fist with the paintbrush on there because I wanted to pop out.
You know what's crazy? One of the kids today asked me, why did you choose those colors, red, black?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Why? And I'm like, wow, that's a great question. That's a 4th grader, dude. So even they're paying attention.
They're paying attention.
It's visual.
Very like one of the things of being a designer and a strategist as well is understanding what color does to people.
Exactly.
And how it makes people feel.
Yeah.
And these colors, like blue means safe a lot of times.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, green, everybody thinks it's natural,
Healthy, yeah.
organic, yellow, happy,
yeah.
red, serious, bold,
yeah.
you know, things like that. And I think people have to understand that if you don't know those type of things, you need to get with somebody that does know those type of things so they can create you a dope brand identity. And, you know, the people that, all my clients understand that or try to understand it, and I try to get them to understand that type of stuff. So, with that being said, so you got a good brand now. You got it. You dope with it. You know, it looks nice. It stands out. The Jank, which is a dope name, I think.
That definitely came before the packaging. The name.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And what's the name? Where'd you get the name from?
So the Jank. You know, when you say it, you gotta say it with some respect on it.
Okay.
Right? So the Jank is actually a term me and a really good friend of mine, man, my brother Cam. Whenever we was trying to describe something that was just so dope, we didn't have a word to describe it. It was the Jank.
Yeah.
So everything, you know, a lot of time we would be eating at this Chinese spot, and they had these banging teriyaki chicken, you know, shish kebabs, if you will. You know what I'm saying? And we like, ooh, but is it a Jank? You know what I'm saying? Anything great, awesome, fantastic. When you just can't figure out a word, it's the Jank. So when I made the sauce, I'm like, oh, okay, no brainer. I know what I'm gonna call it. That and to be honest, I hadn't really heard it except for when we used it at the time. But the Jank was it just stuck. That's what it was gonna be. So from that, then it was months of looking at some of the big brands, especially in the food industry.
Yeah.
What did their logos look like? What colors are they using? Why do those colors stand out? Why does this logo stand out? Why is this restaurant, you know, having such a, you know, why is it so huge? You know, why do you remember those logos? You know what I'm saying? Why do you remember those logos? Why do they stay in your mind? And it's like, okay, so what am I gonna do that's gonna have a logo in the brand that people can look at and it's easy to remember? The name is easy to say. When you see it, you recognize it right away. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Oh, that's the Jank. You know what I'm saying? So all of those things, and you talk about months of doing stuff like that before we came up. Me and my buddy Sean, actually, he helped me a lot with the branding in the beginning. Just what is that thing going to be? What's going to catch people on the front?
I really like it. I really like what you're doing, like as far as like the book, the visiting schools.
Okay.
All of that, man. I feel like, and I told you this, like I think that helps with your brand because your brand is a family brand and it brings people together, and that's just dope to me. That's really dope because I don't see nobody doing that. I don't see Stubbs. You know, I'm gonna probably bleep that out because I don't want to get through the promo, but I don't see them doing it. I don't see anybody else doing that, and I think that's gonna be one of your strong suits. And I always tell people to make their brand personable.
Yeah.
And like it has to be able to, I don't care what product you sell or what service you do, you gotta be able to connect with the people.
Definitely, man.
Right now, especially in 2019, people want to know what their brand is connected to, what their brand stands for, what their product stands for. People want to see transparency in their companies, out of the products that they consume. They want to see all of that, man. And I think you're doing a really great job doing that.
Appreciate it.
And showing people that this is what Jank stands for.
So I'll tell you what else. You know, with all of that being said, it's never been about the money for me, man. From the beginning. Of course you want to get in, you want to make a ton of money. But being realistic, you know you're not going to make a bunch of money right out the gate unless you got something that's just, you know, not a food product, but like something that's just going to be like that miracle that
But you're playing in longevity.
I'm playing the longevity card.
You're playing in longevity, and I know that for a fact because you know, I mean, all these products, none of them started out booming out the gate. You know, McDonald's didn't start booming out the gate.
Yeah.
Wendy's didn't start booming out the gate. You know, Earl Campbell's sausage didn't start booming out the gate, even if they even had a famous spokesperson.
Yeah.
My whole thing is, I know the game you're playing because I'm playing it too.
Word.
You know what I'm saying? You're playing a longevity game, and it ain't about the money in the beginning. And I think people have to understand that. Like I was saying earlier, like I did so much stuff for free.
Oh yeah.
In the beginning for like 4 years straight, I used to beg rap artists to let me shoot their music video, bro. And design their covers.
That's crazy.
And sometimes they didn't. Sometimes they didn't go with it.
Yeah.
But I used to want to. I wanted to just perfect my craft so bad, and I wanted to get out there so bad. I did that.
Yeah.
I had friends that were rappers. Shout out to RG. He was one of the. I always supported.
What you say that rap name was again, man?
I'm not telling you my rap name yet. I'll tell you off air. But anyway, so I definitely, and I used to practice on myself, man. I used to have the dopest rap covers out of everybody. Everybody was like, man, your shit look legit, man. Your stuff look legit. I was like, look, bro, I'm a designer first.
Word.
So it's like, I'm a designer first, so of course my stuff gonna look legit. But it's important though. That stuff is important that, you not do it for the money, because if you gonna do it for the money, you're not gonna make no money. And I just heard that off another podcast, but that's the truth.
That's the truth. And I'm gonna tell you what, one of the things that stood out with you when we had that initial conversation at the farmers market, me and you started talking a lot about, other black creatives, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
People trying to do things outside of the box and things like that. So when you talk about being a underrepresented in all of the markets, because we talked about that a lot too.
All of it.
You talk about the book and everything. So the book, The Adventures of Sir Jankster, like that book for me is my way of being able to do what we did today, going back and speaking to those kids, showing them that, it's very possible.
Extremely possible.
I'm saying? It's not this unattainable goal that you can't reach if you put you put the work in and stay, consistent with it, man, and just have that resilience, man, being able to bounce back. Because a lot of the kids I'm quite sure every kid in that library today came from a poor family or some situation.
Yeah, or they know somebody. They're not disconnected from it. They pretty much people have to understand. Even the people even the black people in the suburbs,
exactly,
they connected to it. My uncle lived in the suburbs, but guess what? His nephew, me, his sister, my mom were very much in poverty. So you're very connected to it. So like, it's very few of us that have generations where the whole family is just well off.
Exactly.
It's very few. So even if they wouldn't come from that, I'm pretty sure they have some type of connection to that and can understand it.
Definitely. So that's that's why what you do, what I do, is very, important to me. That's why I'm passionate about it, because I think back when I was that age, how many people like me came in and spoke to me about anything that they were doing.
Nah, I say it again. I keep on saying it. I did not meet my first black graphic designer until I became one.
It's crazy,
and it doesn't make any sense. And I'm from Texarkana, Texas, and I definitely know there are some black graphic designers from there. I just don't know who they are. Yeah, they never came to my school. I didn't even know the profession existed. Yeah. I didn't know film existed. I didn't know none of this stuff existed. I just knew when I went to college I was going to do marketing. Okay, I just knew that because I think that just matched my personality. Business and marketing just matched my personality, and I was always doing business because I was always hustling in school. But I didn't know that, and you need to see that.
You gotta see it.
You win if one of those kids become a chef. If they start a business.
Anything can come out of that thing on top.
You win because you inspired that. And I tell people all the time, like, if I get one person, and I've already got two, but if I get, my whole goal is to create jobs for creatives of color, and I've gotten two people jobs already, which is a good thing.
That's
and I've outsourced work to so many other creatives of color. So, and right now it's only gonna get better for me, because that's my success. That's how I measure success. I don't measure it off of money or anything like that.
Definitely,
but that's important. So one of the things I talk about in my book is practicality. And I stated in the beginning of my book, I'm like, look, if you come here for inspiration and all that stuff, this is the wrong book for you.
This ain't the read for you.
Yeah, it's like this. It's like, as much as I was like, if you need inspiration and you just need to look outside.
Yeah.
Go to the news, look at your surroundings, look how you're living, and that should be enough inspiration for you. simply about practicality. So my book is not that long.
Yeah.
It's a quick read because of reason, because it doesn't need a lot of, it's not a lot of fluff in it.
Yeah.
It's really straight to the point. It's just like, this is exactly what I did. Now this might work for you.
And
it might not, but this is what I did. And if you do it like I did it and it works for you, hats off to you. And if it doesn't work, try another route. But I'm about practicality because I never needed inspiration. I'm gonna be honest with you. I was born with it.
Okay.
I was born with, and I was talking to my homegirl last night, Jasmine. I was like, I don't know why I went left
instead of right.
I don't know why when everybody was in the streets selling and doing all kinds of stuff that I didn't do that. I don't know why I wasn't pulling kick doors with my brothers. I don't know why, and I'm
you wanted something different. You.
But how? My thing is, can you explain it? Because if you can explain this to me, then I don't have to write this book. But if you can explain to me how in the hell somebody that's in second grade just ups and say, I don't want to live like this no more.
Easy.
Like, and no, but they get this. You have others. You might have other friends or other siblings or whoever raised the same way, and they don't.
Yeah, because and I'm very similar in that fact.
Yeah, no, you have the black sheep. I call it the black sheep gene. You have it too, but I want to know how in the hell does that happen?
Well, even when you're 2, you're old enough to understand.
No, for sure.
You understand right and wrong.
Yeah,
this ain't right. I don't want to live like this.
But what about the other ones? Let's say 4 people in the same household. This happens a lot. 4 people in the same household are raised the same, right? Me and my brothers and sisters, and I love them. I love them dearly. But they're just it is what it is. But 4 people, and it's not because all my siblings, they pretty much hustlers. Okay. And they go out there and do what they do. But I literally went a totally different path from them. And I'm trying to figure out how the hell does that happen when you're all raised the same? Obviously, you're different. I know that for a fact. But why does being in the hood affect me in that way and it doesn't affect them in that way?
Well, it's the same thing. Like no 2 people are the same. And again, it was, even though you were only 2, there was a choice you had to make.
No, for sure.
When I was a kid, I saw my mother on drugs. I saw my mother, at her lowest point. I didn't meet my dad till I was 24, my biological father. I had a verbally abusive grandfather. Yeah. I seen domestic violence in the house. I seen that as a kid. So I already know, okay, this ain't how I want to live when I grow up. And that's it.
Very young age, right?
Very basic, very simple. I don't want to live like this.
It's just simple.
So as you get older, you
start making as you get older, you just make from that day on, you just make decisions based on not that.
I don't want to do that.
I don't want to do that. And that's exactly what happened to me when I in second grade, bro. I remember like it was yesterday. I was walking, it was cold, and we stayed in this house that was just raggedy as hell. It is what it, we stayed in this raggedy ass house, and I'm sitting out, and my mama hadn't got off work yet, and it's cold outside, and I'm like, damn, man, I just don't want to live like this. Yeah. And I said that in second grade, and from that day on, bro, people where I'm from, I applied the neighborhood I'm from because nobody ever made me feel different from just going the other way. Exactly. I never got clowns for nobody ever said I was a square or anything like that because I held my own when I had to, but that never
exactly.
That never was my neighborhood. My neighborhood, Grandview was never about that. It was like, Michael hustler. He gonna do what he got to do, but he ain't gonna be in the streets like that. My older brother was, and I did look at him, and I did see like, damn, I don't want that. This dude always in and out of juvie.
For what, dude?
I was like, I didn't want to live like that. And he always joke about it now, like like he be like, I'm the reason why he ain't turned up wrong because I did all wrong. Because I did all wrong. But my brother, he was solid when it comes to just being, he was a knucklehead, but you can kind of see a method to the madness sometimes.
Yeah.
But I always just admired that he was a hustler, and that's for sure.
I tell you what though, it's survival too, man. You know, it's survival because even that, you know, growing up in my neighborhood. Yes, you know you're not getting into everything, and you might not be getting picked. I'm gonna say for me, you probably not getting picked on as much.
Yeah.
Because you learn how to fight.
You
learn what
you can't
need.
avoid that. You're gonna fight. You're gonna have to fight where you and
you know what I'm
that just comes with the territory. And no matter who you are.
And if you can't fight, you learn some different routes.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
To school and from school. Yeah. So like all of those adaptive survival skills that you pick up. You know what I'm saying, in the hood. But the key thing was you already knew I don't want to live like this.
No, fact.
So what decision do I have to make that's gonna help me not live like this?
I always say this. There are two types of people in the hood. Ones that don't know they're in the hood, and the ones that do know they're in the hood. The ones that don't know they're in the hood, they think that the riffraff, the chaos that comes with it, they think that's normal.
That's normal, yeah.
They think that's the rest of the world.
Yeah.
They think the rest of the world lives just like them, so it's normal. And the one that do know it's in the hood, do know they live in the hood, they like, this is the hood.
I'm gonna tell you what. I'm gonna tell you what helped me get out of that. The one thing that was a blessing, dude. Every summer, we would go to New Jersey.
Mine was Houston.
We would drive.
Yeah,
to New
you went
Jersey,
away. You went away
up the East Coast.
Yeah.
So I got to see.
You got to see other. Yeah.
Even if I didn't get a chance to really hang out in these states and this, I got to see
other sports. Did that for me. That's the reason why I always play football and powerlifting. I got to travel to different places and stuff.
Yeah.
But always going back to Houston every summer to live with my uncle and my cousin. That showed me like
something different out there.
I was like, dang, he living in the suburbs. White people out here, people growing fruit in their backyard and stuff. I'm like, so that exposure. That's another thing. Exposure is a big deal when it comes to kids dreaming and people just thinking outside of the box and wanting more. Like I was driving the other day, I was talking to my brother-in-law. I'm like, you know, you probably haven't been exposed to enough to understand what you're trying to do.
Exactly.
You know, and because with me, I mean, I always been in art, you know, but.
So, Mike, man, let me ask you a question then.
Yeah.
Like, what is that, you know, like you say, you had it at 2. You already knew what it was.
Well, it was second grade.
Second grade. You had that. What do you say to the kid that doesn't have that, you know what I'm saying, and they're trying to figure out, you know, how to get out of that situation?
It's kind of like this. I've met so many kids and so many people, you know, that are in it deep. They're just engulfed in it. This is the only way this is the only life that they know. My whole thing was there was this family called the Rockwells, and they stayed across the street from me. And then not across the street, across the train tracks from me. And I looked up to damn near everybody in that family. My best friend is from that family. And his little brother who died a couple of years ago, who's another best friend of mine, was in that family. And they all went to college, and they all respected this one woman called Mother, and they respected her so much. Like her word was almost law. And it wasn't a bad thing. She wasn't a dictator or anything like that. But I'm saying this because that was my exposure. It was across the street. It was across the train tracks.
Word. My
exposure was also talking to older people. I hung around so many older people, and they respected me, and I respected them. And I'm saying this because sometimes you might not have that uncle that stays in Houston, or sometimes you might not be good in sports. Sometimes you might not be. You might not know nobody. It might just be you and your mama living in the hood, and you ain't got no friends, and you don't know nobody. But I'm pretty sure there's some old people around that's been somewhere. I'm pretty sure if you make friends with people that you don't like, Courtney, my best friend Courtney is quiet as hell, bro. And I talk all the damn time. Like people will be like, "How are y'all friends?" My other best friend Bernard, you know, dude is a thug. You know what I'm saying? Hard as they come, and people are like, "How are you friends?" And it's because I've never been afraid to talk to people that were different from me. Because when I wasn't able to go places, when I wasn't able to meet new people or get exposed to new things, I just talked to the people around me that were different. I, you know, like that's the best way to do it. You know, befriend somebody when kids are around you like that dude that's a knucklehead need to befriend a white person in your school. You need to befriend a Hispanic person in your school that they can barely speak English. Befriend them because at the end of the day, you hard and you all this because you hang around the same dudes all the time and they get in the same stuff all the time. And when I met Courtney in 5th grade, like it was the first time before I knew Black excellence was, I felt like, that's what, because their family was so strong and tight-knitted, and they went through their differences, of course, and when they weren't perfect or nothing, but the thing is, it's just like the amount of, the principles of the family. And I love my family to death, but we didn't have that.
Didn't have that structure, so I had a family.
We didn't have that.
I had a family that lived down the street from me. I lived in the cul-de-sac on the block in Little Haiti. And the family down the street, my best friend, a dude named Mark, his grandmother and grandfather always had me over for dinner. They never had to ask me twice. They were from Belize. So they wasn't even American, you know what I mean? Yeah. From another country. You see? And I hung out, when I tell you I was at their house.
Every day,
where my grandma used to be like, stop going to them people's house. I'm
That's how I was over Courtney in house. Like, we're like that forever, bro. And he come over my house, but I was always going over his house. Yeah. And because, people thought, my family tough. Yeah. They tough, you know what I'm saying? And it is what it is. And it didn't start with my brother. It started a long time ago. Yeah. But at the end of the day, I hung around different people. Yeah. I never let people put myself in a box. Just because I'm from the hood don't mean I need to hang around with everybody in the hood. Just because I did everything. I was in art, but another thing was, bro, is self-esteem is important to these students. Is like, well, just to people in general that's in the hood and the creatives that in the hood, like, you gotta find something that you're good at. And I was telling the student at my book signing a week ago, like, you gotta find what you're good at.
Have to, dude.
Because that right there, when people are talking about you, when people are talking, I've been chubby all my life. You know what I'm saying? So when people bashing those fat jokes, you take that, learn how to talk about them back, but then understand you're talented and rest your not your ego, but rest your self-esteem on your talent. And what I mean by that is, like, everybody's good at something. Yeah. Some people don't know it yet. Yeah. So when you don't know it yet, when you're good at something, you don't think. If you don't know you're good at something and then you're getting talked about all the time, it makes it seem like you have no worth. Yeah. So if you know you're good at something, especially when you're young, when you're older and people talk about you, you don't even care because it's like, bro, I'm too old to care about what you think about me. But when you're young, the goal is to find out what you're good at first, because athletes do this all the time. Yeah. Athletes are good at they're good. Yeah. But a lot of them ugly. Yeah. And they still get talked about, but you know what? It could be the ugliest dude in the world, but that boy can tote that rock.
That boy can tote that rock. See, my thing was, and the same thing, I was a chubby kid, dude. So, like, in my hood, like, I had to be better or just as good as everybody else. Yeah. So I had to work a little harder. Yeah. I was chubby, but I get with you on that basketball court. You know what I'm saying? Facts. So just I remember even when I got older, dude, and I moved to so when we moved, I moved to Hollywood, Florida. I think my 10th grade year of high school. Mm-hmm. So now I get to this new high school and I don't know anybody. My homeboy Cam, I was just telling you about the jank. This is my brother, dude. One of the first people I became friends with. And we started being friends because he was talking trash because I was whooping somebody on the basketball court. He like, who this cat is, you know what I mean? What he doing on here, man? Let me show him something. That's how we started talking. Yeah. But it was on that, and that was just because when I had to be a little better than everybody else. I had to work a little harder. And it's just, if you don't have it or you feel like you don't have it, you're going to have to work at it a little harder. People told me I couldn't sing at all. You know what I'm saying? When and
I heard earlier, boy, you could blow.
Appreciate you, man. But and to be honest with, keep it 100. When I look back at some of the tapes when I was singing younger, dude, I couldn't sing, bro.
Mm-hmm. But you learn it. You live and you learn.
You learn it. You know what I'm saying? You figure out this is what I want to do, and I practiced a lot, man. Yeah. I listened to myself and I practiced a lot.
So we got the inspiration out the way.
Yeah.
We know we come from the same cloth, obviously.
Yeah.
And that's the reason why we started working together. I want to know why when you lost the second time, what made them choose to put you in the store anyway?
I think it had everything to do with the branding and the full package, and obviously the product. So you go into a place like that, you dealing with HEB, you're dealing with somebody that's tried 100,000 barbecue sauces over the years. Mm-hmm. And obviously when they tasted it, if you could have been in that room, dude, and seen the feedback and how, when I walked out of there, dude, I really thought to myself, there's no way I didn't win something just from the feedback. Mm-hmm. And being out there and not hearing the same type of stuff going on when other people were in the room. So I'm like, I had to win something. I think it had everything to do with that the product hadn't been proven yet. And I was selling only a few hundred bottles a month at the time I got into HEB. So I think that had a lot to do with it. But they couldn't deny what that packaging looked like. Because at the time, moonshine bottle, fancy, you know what I'm saying, handle on it. Label looking nice, logos on point, colors on point. I'm going in there singing the jingle. I'm dressed full.
Yeah, you got the whole you got the whole package.
You know what I'm saying?
You ready?
Top hat.
You ready?
Top hat, white tuxedo. You know what I'm saying? So you can't deny that when I walked in the room, it was like, okay, what is this cat selling?
Yeah.
And then you taste the product and know it's good. Oh, but what your numbers look like? Okay. Yeah. We gonna have to take a chance on it. I'm quite sure that's what it was, man. But
because so you had you pretty much was ready. It's just that you didn't have the exposure, and so they didn't want to take a chance on you yet. So and obviously when you left the room and after that day, they probably like, man, this product is really good and it's already ready. It's ready for. We don't have to do any tweaking. It's already ready for the shelves. So obviously, I think you just were ready. So my thing is dealing with manufacturers and packaging people. Mm-hmm. What are the 5 things that people should know if they got a product that they want to that has to be shipped out to the masses? What are the 5 main things that they need to know to make sure that they don't make the same mistakes you made?
Know your numbers from the beginning. Know your numbers. I did go in knowing what my food cost was. I had a pretty good idea of what all of that, like I knew that stuff going in. Also, don't be willing to compromise on what your product is or what that thing is, because there's a reason why. For me, HEB said to me, make sure you don't compromise that recipe. Make sure you don't change that. Yeah. Because a lot of time when you scale up, that's kind of what happens. They either try to substitute things and you lose a lot of the quality that you started out with. So I would say definitely be willing to walk away, man. They talk about, I think I heard Jay-Z or somebody say something about that, like being able to get up from a table and walk away. Yeah, it looked real good. You know what I'm saying? It's a great opportunity. But if I have to compromise what I put my name on and what I built this thing on, then am I really, doing it for the right reason? Is it worth it? I would say that would be one of the things. Something else is know how to talk to people. You know what I'm saying? Know how to build those relationships. Because they can come in. We had, one example was where I bought some labels. Went through the process of, hey, will these work? Are these going to be okay? It was like a vinyl label that we wanted it to look like the bottle was screen printed. Mm-hmm. So we went with vinyl labels. They say, yes, okay, this is what we can do. We can print them. Couple months in, we can't use these labels. Now I'm getting a lot of creases in the labels. That ain't going to be good for business. I can't have them on the shelf looking like that. So now we have to figure out, okay, what's the next move? couple different things could have went, left on that. I could have blew a gasket. Oh, okay, now I'm tripping. The hood come out, you know what I'm saying? Whatever.
He said the hood come out.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Whatever. You could be in that situation and not know how to deal with that.
Yeah.
So as opposed to saying, okay, this is what the situation is. This is the problem. Okay, how do we deal with it? How do we fix it? Because there's nothing else we can do about it. We got to get it fixed. And again, not compromising on what you want your brand, what you want that thing to look like when people see it for the first time.
So what are the startup costs to even do something like start a barbecue sauce, or what are some of the startup costs that you incurred?
So really, for me, starting costs, the only thing that I spent a lot of money on initially, before packaging and things like that, was just spending the time and the money on making the product, like going and buying the stuff and really spending that time. I think the time was my most valuable, I guess, investment in the beginning, because I spent a lot of time in the kitchen, dude. And that was one of those things. I say the labeling getting put together, winning that $10,000. Like, I won that $10,000. That was gone. I think I spent that in a few months. Just getting everything together, labels, bottles, different stuff, some advertisements, different things, just to get it, get it moving.
And you won that $10,000 from what?
City of McAllen, Chamber of Commerce in McAllen.
They had you said they had an innovation competition.
Innovation grant. Innovation grant is what they had. So you got to submit your business plan. And they would look at your business plan. If they felt it was something that had a chance, you had to present. You had about a 20-minute presentation. So I ended up getting, and actually that was probably about the third time I had applied for that. So that wasn't when I won it. I had already applied a few different.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It's yearly. So again, it was a constant. Yeah, they telling me no. Okay, so what do I have to go back and fix? What do I have to make better in order to make this thing make sense? So doing that, and then, just all of the things that you have to do, getting FDA approval, things like that, getting your food lab tested, knowing what your nutritional panel is.
How do y'all count calories? How do y'all know how many calories in there?
Well, that's what they have food labs for.
So I think I was watching it on YouTube. They have like a machine, right? Calories?
So to be honest with you, they have, all right. So I'm not actually counting the calories. You can look at, anything and see what the calories, what you're using in your product. So I have an idea. You can plug different things in. They have little programs, different things you can do. But you really send that stuff off to a food lab. So you send it off to a food lab and they do all the work. They have all that, and then they send you that stuff
all
back.
The information,
and then you have it.
Put it on your packaging.
Exactly, because you got to have that. In order to be retail ready, you got to have that ready. Consumer needs to know what's being out there. They're not going to put it
Did you pay for that yourself for the food lab?
Yeah, all of that $10,000, you get all of that money.
How much that food lab costs?
The food lab, to be honest, is not even that expensive. This is like $300 or $400.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying? At the time it was. So I'm not sure if the prices have gone up on it or not.
So with that $10,000, you got packaging done, bottling done, marketing done. What kind of marketing did you get?
Marketing, just a lot of. I did some. I want to say I spent some money on commercials. I got a few different animated commercials.
Oh yeah, that's animated. Yeah.
So those things, those run you.
Yeah, facts.
So I've got some of that stuff done. A lot of time it was re-upping on bottles, like that first thing of bottles, the moonshine bottles. Those things cost me, I had to get about 1,600 bottles at one time. In order to get a decent price on them, I had to get them in bulk.
How much that cost you about?
Probably about $1,600 off top, and that ain't, I'm not making that right back.
No, facts. None of this stuff you make right back. People have to understand that you got none of this stuff you making right back. So now we are, now that you're in HEB, and you in how many stores?
It's 247.
So you're in 247 stores. What is next? I know we're getting ready to shoot your commercial.
Okay.
I know we're getting ready to shoot that, which is I'm excited for that, man. So we've been planning this for like a good 2 months.
Yeah, definitely, man.
So I'm excited to shoot that. But what else is for what else do you see happening? Because I know you're trying to grow this as slow as possible, or it was just slow, right? You're just trying to grow it right, correct?
Definitely. I want to just be efficient with it, man. I don't want to outpace myself. I understand it's only me. It's one person running the ship.
This is crazy. This dude. This dude at 240 stores is only one person.
It's only one person. I can't be in all 247 of them. I wish I could. I wish I had.
This don't make any sense. 247 stores. And it's only one person running Jenks.
It's only one person. Man.
Just imagine when you do grow, where you gonna be at. That's where I know for sure. That's the reason why I'm gonna tell you right now. When you do get there, I'm gonna need some money. I'm gonna need to borrow some money.
Hey, man, it's all good. You already know.
I need to borrow some money.
Come with a little bit of interest on it. It's all good. You know what I'm saying?
I'm gonna need to borrow some money because I know you get there.
Little interest.
I know I know where you're headed.
What's the new thing? So the new what's next? What's new? I'm always thinking about what's the next thing. Diabetic, keto friendly sauce that's going to be on the shelves in January. You know what I mean? So I'm really excited. It's called The Goodness. That'll be on the shelves in January. So I think that's going to open up a whole nother market that's going to, definitely increase sales and things like that.
For sure.
But it's something tapping in, meeting that
inclusive,
need.
Man. You've been inclusive, and that's important, bro.
Well, my mom is diabetic, grandmother's diabetic,
And they gotta enjoy what they baby made.
Exactly.
Yeah, I feel that. Ain't nothing wrong with that, bro. That's gonna pop for real.
I think so, yeah.
That's definitely because, I know it's gonna taste it's still gonna taste good. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I know it's still gonna taste good. So it's like, because I've tasted sugar-free barbecue sauce, and that stuff was just trash.
Yeah.
It was just trash. It was just liquidy, and it just tasted like they just put straight vinegar in it.
Exactly.
Nothing really else. It didn't have no savory taste.
Yeah.
It didn't have, your one thing about your sauce, it has layers to it.
Definitely.
It has layers to it. So you might, like when I was eating a habanero earlier, it got spicy, but it got sweet too.
Yeah.
And on that vegan chicken, oh my gosh.
Banging. Hey, shout out to Lindiana's,
Oh,
man.
bro, shout out to Lindiana's. Man.
Shout out to Lindiana's. Vegan soul food, dude.
Y'all got to eat there. It's right behind Texas Southern University. When I tell you, and you put me on this. This is funny. I'm not from Houston, but I stay out here.
Yeah.
This dude, he all the way in West Texas, put me on this.
Yeah.
And when I tell you, I'll be going out there Sunday.
I'm telling you.
Because I got another meeting out. I got another meeting over that way, so I'll be going out there Sunday for sure, man.
Yeah, man. And when you go by, man, tell them the Jank sent you. Go.
And you need to. They need to care. They need to.
Well, we working on that. This was the first meeting. Yeah. Man. This is the first time I actually been there, man. But we've been talking
because that sauce on that chicken sandwich was bomb.
Banging.
They can literally. You know what you should do is you should get some type of paper or something where they can wrap with jank in it and say this is a jank flavored. Like, so only time that they sell it, they wrap the paper. The Jank Nation paper in it.
Yeah. I got you.
You know what I'm saying? When y'all do the collab, if y'all do the collab, you know what I'm saying? I think
y'all
that'd be dope.
Then be honest.
Yeah, for real. Y'all should do the collab because if y'all do that, we can, put some posters and stuff. We can do all kinds of stuff. We could definitely do that, but it'd be dope, man.
Yeah.
So, we got 7 minutes left.
All right.
Another thing that I wanted to know is, so for that person that doesn't know necessarily, so you said you packaging is important,
very important,
and you broke down what you did with $10,000.
Yeah.
So what else do you think, in order for that person to get an HEB or any grocery store, how prepared? What are the other things that they might need to do to make sure that when they do, you know what? I want to know the person that made that decision. Who was that person?
To actually put it into HEB?
Yeah.
Well, every category, and you go into a grocery store and you look on the shelf, whether you're in the bread aisle, whether you're in the barbecue sauce aisle, there's a buyer for each one of those products. So there may be a spice category. There's a sauce and condiment category. There's one person in charge of that. There's one person.
And what are these persons? How can is it easy to contact one of these people?
It's not easy to get in touch with them at all. As a matter of fact, before I got into the contest, I could not get in touch with any one of them.
So they need to. So people, if you're trying to get in HEB, they need to go through that contest.
You need to, not necessarily. I know a guy, that's actually gotten into HEB. Just really, I would say the key to it, really, if you're really trying to go retail and HEB or whatever retail store, it's going to be your word of mouth and building your following and having enough people that know what your product is.
Can you like really go in there and just do samples for your stuff and test it with them?
Well, it's fine. It's getting a meeting.
Mm-hmm.
You have to try to get a meeting with somebody, and it's people. A lot of times it's through distributors or whatever that set up those meetings or are able to actually get in and talk to those people. So it's not as easy to get in like that. But if you have a following and people know who you are, and there's a buzz and people may have.
So you need to own the market locally first.
Definitely, dude.
So you got to own that market. It's just like the rap game.
Definitely. Think about it this way. Say your sauce. You got this new ketchup, banging. It's better than regular ketchup, right?
Yeah.
It's gonna knock ketchup off the market. Best thing on earth, and nobody knows about it. It's better, no question about it. It's better than everything else on the shelf, and they put it on that grocery store shelf, and nobody knows about it. What happens to it?
And they don't care. No. Like that's just how that's pretty much like almost every industry now. So it definitely makes sense. Man, that definitely makes sense.
That's why I was actually kind of scared to get on. I'm gonna be honest. I was scared about getting onto a shelf without any real promotion. Mm-hmm. Because I didn't have a budget behind me to be able to promote it and do the stuff that I know you need to do in order to just get out there.
Yeah, to capitalize off that exposure that they're about to give you. You definitely want to have an engine already behind you.
Exactly, something. So that was the other misconception too. You get in, people feel like, I get on the shelves in HEB and then I don't have to do any more work, and that's actually when the work starts. That's when it starts.
Makes sense. So, man, I really appreciate you coming down here.
No doubt, man.
Obviously, I'll see you next weekend when we start shooting. Giving people your information and how to contact you.
Oh, man, hit me up at BBQ Jank, man. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all the same handle, at BBQ Jank. I try to keep it consistent across the board.
Thanks.
Very easy. And if you Google the Jank, just Google the Jank. 9 times out of 10, I want to say
you're going to see that barbecue sauce. You're going to see the red and black J.
And there you go. Go.
Well, man, I really appreciate you for doing the Cheat Notes podcast.
No doubt.
This podcast is built for creators of color to give them the insight. We go deep into things that people don't normally go into. We show them different career paths and different information to practical information.
Gotta drop one more word.
What's up?
The resilience, dude. The bounce back.
Yeah.
Because it ain't going to always go as planned.
I mean, and I hope they know that. That's something we can't teach them.
You can't teach them. That's something we can tell them.
We can tell them, but like some people just don't understand that.
The bounce back.
There will be a fall. That's inevitable. Period. It's just how you react to it.
How you bounce back.
How you react to it. Man, well, I appreciate you, brother, for coming to the... appreciate you for being on the podcast and taking the time out to, share some gems. And I appreciate you for doing what you're doing for the community.
Yes, sir.
You all the way in West Texas, and you came out here to Houston to drop
West
gems.
Laco, Texas. It sounds like West Texas. West Laco, Texas, the Rio Grande Valley.
Oh, okay. You South Texas. You all the way in South Texas. My bad. South Texas. And you came all the way out here to drop gems to the community and to the people, man. So appreciate you, man. It's the Cheat Notes podcast, man. I'll see y'all next time.